What is up, you guys? It is Jazz, and on my channel I talk about nursing, hair, and holistic health and wellness. If this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. And if you're returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. So today's video is going to be all about comparing and contrasting an ADN and a BSN. However, before we get into all that good and funness, I just want to say thank you all so much for 200 subscribers. You guys, I can't believe I already hit 200 subscribers. I'm just so stoked. Like, thank you guys so much. I actually hit my 100 subscriber milestone on June 16th. And then less than a month later, I hit 200 on July 14th. So I'm very proud of that. And right now, as I'm filming this on July 17th, I think I currently have about 220 subscribers. So we're already now a fifth of the way to 300. These hundreds are just gonna roll off our back really quick now, and before we know it, we're gonna be at 1,000. So if this is your first time stopping by video, please make sure that you hit subscribe to stick around and come back for more, because you guys don't wanna miss out on the stuff I'm gonna continue to bring to y'all, okay? So tap in, click that button, subscribe, join the crew, okay? And I just wanna say truly from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to the little more than 200 people that are subscribed to me right now. You guys, it really means so much to me. I put a lot of time, effort, creativity, planning, etc. into my channel, and it's something that I'm very passionate about, and it really makes me happy to do. So to see people responding back to my videos positively, wanting to subscribe, to come back and see more, that all makes me so happy. It warms my heart and just makes me like, gives me motivation to keep going and keep pushing, you know? So thank you all. All right, so now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into this next versus video. This is my second versus video that I'm doing. The first one, I compared and contrasted LPNs versus RNs. So if you want to check that out, definitely go watch that video after this one. But in today's video, we will be looking at ADN versus BSN. On the agenda for today's video, after I just briefly explain what each of those two are, ADN and BSN, we will then cover the length of time that the programs take. We will cover educational differences between the programs. Then we'll move on to talking about licensure, scope of practice, and lastly, pay. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right on into it. ADN and BSN. You might be wondering, what do these mean? ADN stands for Associate's Degree in Nursing, and BSN stands for Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Both of these are degrees. These are degrees that you go to school to earn. Comparatively, in my other video when we were talking about LPN versus RN, those are not degrees, those are licenses that you attain after going to school. So today we're not comparing licenses, we're comparing degrees. Now both the ADN and BSN fall under the category of educational programs that will lead to an RN license, if that makes sense. So in that other video, I'm comparing LPNs versus RNs. And then in this video, underneath the category of RNs, we're looking at two different educational paths you can take in order to become an RN. Now, based on the names of these, you might be able to guess how long these programs typically take. So with an ADN, it's typically going to take about 2 years of study. And with a BSN, it's going to take about 4 years of study, right? Associate's degrees, 2 years, bachelor's degrees, about 4 years. If you are interested in just trying to get your license as quick as possible and start working as a nurse on the floor, then the ADN provides you a quicker route to become a registered nurse. So that's one positive of the ADN program, is that it's shorter, and so it allows you to get out working in the field as a registered nurse quicker. Now on the other hand, with the BSN, some pros of doing that program is that For one, it makes it a little bit easier for career advancement. If you want to go back to school and earn more degrees, then having the BSN degree is going to make it a lot easier to go back and attain further and advanced nursing degrees. Secondly, having a BSN is going to open you up to a little bit more job opportunities once you graduate and become a registered nurse. Now, don't get me wrong, as an ADN or a BSN who earns their license as a registered nurse, you can apply to any registered nursing positions. However, there are some places and applications that are going to say that they prefer that candidate to have a bachelor's degree. So for the most part, ADNs and BSNs can work in the same places, but in some circumstances, you might see that that employer is going to prefer BSN graduates. So BSNs just have a little bit of an advantage over ADNs in that standpoint, because you won't miss out on any job opportunities based on the length of your program, because you have that 4-year bachelor's degree versus somebody else who might only have the associates. Now, as far as the educational programs that you go through to earn these degrees. So with an ADN, since it is an associate's degree, most of these programs are going to be in community colleges, smaller like technical colleges, things like that. With a BSN, since it is a bachelor's, you're going to find most of these nursing programs at big 4-year schools or universities. A pro of an ADN program at a community college is that typically these programs, because they are at community colleges, are going to be cheaper. Per semester, the price is going to be cheaper, and then overall it's going to be cheaper because it only takes 2 years versus 4. So not only will you be paying less per semester, but you're going to be paying for less semesters over the course of the time of your program. So that is definitely one pro, is that pretty much across the board, you're gonna find that ADN programs are going to be less costly than BSN programs. One pro of BSN programs is that because they are a part of universities and bigger schools, typically these programs are going to be more widely and highly recognized by other people. This doesn't always really like matter, you know, as far as like getting a job after school, but if that's just something that you care about, going to, you know, like a reputable, well-known school, then you're typically gonna find that more in the 4-year BSN nursing programs. Not only are BSN programs a little more likely to be more recognized, but because they are bigger schools, a lot of times you might find that those BSN programs have more connections to different clinical sites and just partners and things like that, because, you know, everyone wants to partner with the huge big school. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Now, as far as the education that these programs both provide, ADN programs are going to be what are called more like technical programs. So those programs are going to be almost solely kind of focused on the skills and the knowledge behind those skills that you perform as a nurse. Now, in a BSN program, it's going to focus on all those skills and the knowledge as well, but BSN programs also provide education in some areas that aren't really touched on as much in ADN programs. Some of those topics that you can expect to see in a BSN program that you might not find in an ADN program include research, different types of leadership and management education, social sciences. A lot of times in ADN programs, you might not have to take as many of those, as well as in public health. BSN programs are going to feature public health or community health classes, while a lot of ADN programs will not. So those are just a few examples of differences that you will see in the actual educational content of these programs, but for the most part, what's being learned is the same. But yes, because BSN programs offer more training on, you know, like leadership and management and research, the BSN programs are kind of called more like the professional programs, because you're getting a more well-rounded education on nursing. Not to say that ADN programs aren't well-rounded, but the BSN programs are just going to offer you a little bit more so that you kind of have a wider knowledge base about like the actual role and profession of nursing in general. Okay, next up, licensure. So as I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, basically the ADN and BSN are both college degrees. Both of these degrees allow you to sit and take the NCLEX-RN. The NCLEX-RN is the national exam that once you pass, you earn your nursing license. So let me repeat this again. Whether you go through an ADN program or whether you go through a BSN program, when it comes to licensure, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, candidates from both of those programs are going to sit for the NCLEX-RN, and once they pass that test, both of those candidates from both programs will be registered nurses. A registered nurse is the professional license and the title of the position that you hold professionally. So basically, these are both just two different pathways to reaching the same licensure or working the same job position out in the field. Now let me just say, BSN programs do hold a slight advantage over ADN programs in that they prepare their students a little bit better in order to pass the NCLEX. We see that the passing rate for candidates taking the NCLEX for the first time who were in a BSN program are higher consistently than those who were in an ADN program. So over the last 5 years, in 2021, the pass percentage for BSNs on the first time was 86.06%, ADNs was 78.78%. In 2020, BSNs was 90.29, ADNs was 82.80, and so on and so forth. Basically, it just gives you a little bit of an advantage. From 2017 to 2021, the first try pass rate for BSNs was on average 6.6% higher than those graduating from ADN programs. Next, scope of practice. So, what can ADNs do and what can BSNs do? Basically, they can do the same thing. ADNs and BSNs, like we established, have the same license. They are both registered nurses once they pass the NCLEX, and so since they have the same nursing license, they have the same scope of practice. Now, last but not least, we're moving on to pay. Because these are both degrees that lead to people becoming registered nurses, salaries are kept track of by the title of registered nurse. So both ADNs and BSNs are clumped into that category of registered nurses and salary data that people keep track of. So it's kind of hard to pick apart and really look exactly at how much an ADN versus BSN nurses are making. But in general, you can expect that whether you have an ADN or a BSN, you're going to be making around the same amount of money. There might be some cases where a BSN might make more just because your employer might have like a pay scale, and based on your degree, if you're a BSN, they might start you up, on a higher step than somebody who had an ADN degree. But overall, pretty much across the board, you're gonna see that ADNs and BSNs are making the same amount of money because, once again, both of these degrees lead to individuals becoming registered nurses. So across the board, for both ADNs and BSNs, you're looking at an average salary of about $77,460. Now, keep in mind, this figure is the average nursing salary for all registered nurses all across the country. So you just have to remember that your particular amount of money is going to vary based on, like if you're just starting out, where you're working, etc. All right, y'all. So we have now covered all the topic areas I wanted to cover talking about ADN versus BSNs. I hope this video did a good job at explaining to you what both of these degrees are and the differences you can expect based on the two paths that you can take. All in all, neither one is really better. It just kind of depends on your personal situation and what you're looking to get out of your program, what your plan is, all of that. So this is all something that in making a decision, it has to be very individualized. So I just kind of wanted to provide you with some non-biased information so you can take that information and figure out what's best for you, because nobody can really tell you what's best for you. The very last thing I want to say is just thank you so much for stopping by and tuning into this video with me today. I really appreciate every single person who clicks on any of my videos, and I do appreciate it also if you like, comment, and subscribe. Feel free to do whatever your heart is drawn towards. Thank you for watching this video with me today. Last thing I want to say is just I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye guys.